My name is Jaden Gorham. I teach and coach at Hebron High School. I'm primarily a chemistry teacher teaching honors chemistry, and then on a whim started the esports program during the very tumultuous virtual COVID year back in 2019, 2020, and the rest is history. I know with how early esports is on the national stage and how everyone is viewing it, that everyone and every teacher and coach is trying to start this thing and work with their kids. Everyone is hitting their own unique barriers. I've certainly hit barriers, and to be named one of the 5 finalists is a very validating feeling. Name of the game is just try to get our kids represented and try to get them involved in as many ways as possible. And so everything I've done has tried to get as many kids involved and feel like they can be included in the school's culture. And for a lot of these kids, this is the first extracurricular they've ever been a part of. So it's their first opportunity to get to wear Hebron on their chest. And I've always tried to paint the picture to my kids that, listen, you're one of the first iterations of kids that gets to do this. And so everything that you guys are accomplishing, it's bigger than what Hebron is doing. It's for high school esports as a whole and esports as a whole. And so it's just trying to push past our own school's borders and our district's borders and even our state's borders just to try to get as many kids involved and represented as possible. So during the COVID year, I was a full-time virtual teacher. And man, you don't get into teaching to lecture to a computer screen, I'll tell you that. And so we had really, really large class sizes where I would have 50 to 60 kids in each class. And our district didn't have a webcam requirement or anything like that. And so really the kids would sign on, and almost assuredly, 90+% of those kids are turning on the lecture and then flipping over to the other side of their bed or other monitor, looking at Netflix or whatever they were viewing at the time. So I'm sure they were tuning me out. And so just trying to connect with those kids, man, it was such a weird time. And of course, everyone's going through their own issues. And so I remember in the very first week, I was telling them, yeah, my favorite pastime is I love gaming. I played League of Legends in order to bond with my randomly assigned roommates at college. And so I'm telling my kids about that. And one of them messages me, private message, and he goes, hey, you said you played League, and I've got buddies over at this school, a couple districts over, that they play for their school's team. Could we do something like that? I said, wow, that sounds awesome. I had no idea that would even be a thing. Like, I'd always followed pro esports. So I looked into it, and then that made it to where all these kids that were stuck at home and they're just looking at screens all day anyway, might as well play for your school. And so from fall to spring, we went from like 9 kids involved in the fall to upwards of like 40 kids involved in the spring, something like that. And then it was that summer, Valorant came out, and then we found you guys, HSEL, in the fall semester, and those kids rocked and rolled. Our program coming back to in-person schooling fell in numbers once again. And so I had 1 League roster, 2 Rocket League rosters, and then my 1 Valorant roster. And Valorant is what, of course, just put us into the forefront of things, because that group of 5 kids won the major. And then, of course, they won Grand Nationals that year as well, which just resulted in just this explosion of kids being interested. And Valorant was just huge. Won Nationals, and it was like 60 kids that applied to be on our teams, try out. And I said, well, listen, let's just make as many rosters as we possibly can. Whether you want to be competitive, you want to be casual, let's just get every kid involved that we can. And that's just been the name of the game since. We are now one of the largest organizations on campus. We have upwards of 130 members. We had over 80 kids actively competing this year in HSEL, and the kids are proud to talk about it. And that's one of the coolest things that we've become ingrained in Hebron's culture. But one of the hardest things about esports, and I know this is a struggle that so many coaches and directors are going through, is there's still that little bit of a stigma where kids don't want to come out and say, yeah, I compete on my League of Legends team or I compete on my Valorant team. But no, when you're working hard, you're putting in hours each week to be the best at something. Why would you not be proud to say that? But now I've seen nothing but support from the kids around us in our entire school community. And I think Hebron's culture is very unique in that they're very positively uplifting of one another and support of one another. But yeah, we're just like any other organization, and it's been really cool to see that transition. I'm hoping to just really boom our media presence this next year, because name of the game is just, make it normal. And that's not just normal for our school, but make it normal statewide, nationwide. And so if our program can help other programs get kicked off or push down any barriers that they have, that's always what I've been trying to communicate to these kids.